Ottawa and Canada in general and the world. Today we're talking about Trump's expressed interest in Greenland before Garparty's book that I highly recommend, China in a Changing World. Now, Trump has stated many times officially that he wants to invade and take over Greenland because he's concerned about all these Chinese and the Russians and the security in the Arctic, and the American presence needs to be there and the security in the Arctic. Well, I can tell you from, and again, this is just my background in international relations. My background from the University of Toronto. I also studied at the Norman Paterson School of International Affairs at Carleton. Also been actively involved in politics, over 20 years of experience in politics. I also have a substantive background and experience researching the Nazi Germany and the techniques of Hitler used as far as deception and his expansionist agenda in World War II. And I can tell you, based upon my understanding and my opinion, that this whole idea that Trump wants to take over Greenland because of Russia and China is sophistry, is nonsense. That's not the real reason. The real reason that Trump wants Greenland is, and he's not going to say it, because again, that's deception. That's a part of how the sort of the satanic Nazi mind works in terms of how Hitler was sought to achieve his expansionist agenda. Now, the real reason I can tell you, in my humble opinion, that Trump wants Greenland is not because of Russia and not because of China. It's because of Canada. He wants to take over Greenland because of Canada, but he can't say this. He can't go on in front of CNN. He's not going to go on. Although Trump is pretty open and bold, he knows that there's a slight limit to what messages he can telegraph as being his true intent. He wants to take over Greenland because he wants Canada. He has perceived Canada to be the enemy, so to speak. Everybody knows that, listening to him, that repeatedly that a primary focus on Trump's rhetoric are these bad Canadians, these terrible Canadians, and et cetera, and Canada needs to become a 51st state, and all these bad Canadians. This is why he wants Greenland. He wants Greenland to consolidate power in North America. If Trump was really concerned about the Russians and the Chinese, he would not be seeking to emulate their authoritarianness at home in the United States through ignoring the United States Constitution. If he was really concerned about China and Russia, he would not be seeking to emulate them. He would be seeking to more aggressively challenge the Russians in Ukraine. Instead, he's allowing the Russians to consolidate power and to expand into Ukraine. If he was concerned about China, he would be a lot more assertive in his responses to China. Instead, as far as China, he in fact invited the president of China to his inauguration, and he declined. So if he thinks that China is this evil power, why would he invite the president of China to his inauguration not in November 2024? So all this stuff about, he's against the Chinese and he's against the Russians and he needs to get up there. So, the Danish have already given United States pretty much free reign to do whatever they want in Greenland militarily. So he doesn't need Greenland for the Russians and the Chinese, with the presence of a military base operation already in Greenland. He wants Greenland so that he can have a better excuse to consolidate a presence in the north of U.S. military ships, um, so that he can sweep in between Alaska and Greenland, take over Canada from the north, and squeeze Canadian sovereignty accordingly, as far as an effective blockade that he would like what he's done to in Venezuela, squeeze Canada and consolidate North American power. At the same time, he wants to, as a secondary reason, to grab Greenland for its resources, to turn the whole place into basically a moon landscape, turn the beautiful landscape of Greenland into an unregulated environment of mining, where the Inuit would be in Greenland would be totally disenfranchised. And why not move out all these Greenlanders someplace else, like he wants to do with the Palestinians? So it's got nothing to do with the Chinese and the Russians. But he can't just say, he can't go on Fox News and say, "Oh, we want Greenland because we want to turn the whole place into a mining colony for my buddies, and we want to sweep in and stop all these the enemy of that Canada represents." He's not going to see. He can't really say that on Fox, even though he says a lot of things. So he makes up some excuse that, in his view, will establish a plausible credibility in the American media. Oh, it's the Chinese. Oh, it's the Russians. We got to stop them. Meanwhile, he's not doing that in Ukraine. Meanwhile, he's inviting the president of China to his inauguration. It's blarney. It's outrageousness. And this is why, in my view, the Prime Minister of Canada, Carney, has opened a consulate. I mean, Carney can't say that, okay, the real reason I think that, Trump wants to invade Greenland is so that he can take Canada over. He can't really say that because it's probably going to make him look to be the crazy man. And he's just going to be officially laughed at by the conservatives in the parliament. So he can't really say that. But that he's concerned because this is why he opened up the consulate. He's seeking to open up a consulate in Greenland in February 2026, seeking to establish and consolidate a presence in Greenland. Met with the Prime Minister of Denmark to support and show Canadian support for sovereignty of Danish sovereignty in Greenland, and Greenland as autonomous part of Denmark. So this is so I could tell, in my opinion, from his body language. And again, body language is a very important part of how in international relations is not really spoken as far as the public standpoint, but it's a very important part of interpreting international relations. That's why apparently, for example, some people in international relations, in the negotiations, they will in fact try to touch people who they're negotiating with so that they can in fact establish whether they're liars or not based upon, that sort of making those sort of inferences. So my view from the body language of Trump, and what I know from the Nazi techniques of deception, Trump's main focus is Canada, and secondary focus is seizing control of Greenland for its resources, and not Russia and China at all. This is like not even in the horizon. Trump, in my view, is no more concerned about the Russians and the Chinese in Greenland as he is about the Russians in Ukraine, and in fact he has sought to treat the Russians and with reverence, and the Chinese with reverence compared to his own allies. He sought to emulate them, and he embraces a Chinese and Russian world vision of dictatorial power and control. So he emulates the Russians and the Chinese, um, authoritarianness, emulates their worldview. In his modus operandi, has sought to appease Russia and China, and his at the same time, who is his main focus and enemy? Canada. So Canada is what's on his horizon as far as Greenland, not the Chinese and not the Russians. And Canada and Canadians need to wake up. We need to start to show consolidate, encourage closer ties with Greenland, and make sure that the Americans do not take over Greenland, because if the Americans take over Greenland, goodbye, Canada. Canadians need to wake up. Greenland and Canada need to work together. You need to work out a close economic and political association in order to resist what is definitely, in my humble opinion, an attempt at a Canadian takeover, not Canadian takeover, a takeover by Trump of Canada through his Greenland obsession. He's obsessed about Greenland and he's obsessed about Canada. So it should be obvious to everyone that that Greenland, that as far as his Greenland objectives, he is salivating at the mouth at taking over Canada from Greenland, not anything to do with Russia, nothing to do with China. The media, needs to stop being distracted by Trump's blarney about trying to take over Greenland to assert against the Chinese and the Russians. This is 100% blarney, nonsense, outrageousness. Is nothing to do with the Chinese, nothing to do with the Russians. It's everything to do with what he's doing in Venezuela, which is to take over resources in Greenland, pillage the place, destroy the place, and take over Canada. This is what his focus is. Thanks for watching another edition of the Ottawa Market, and look forward to your comments below. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe to this channel. If you want more commentary like this, subscribe. Our objective is to get 1,000 subscribers in the next week. Thanks for watching.